Hey, and welcome on into Weekend Joe, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Alton Toyota here on ClaibsOnline.com. And if you're watching this on our YouTube feed, you see right now I am joined by two Hall of Famers that will be here next weekend for the Royal Rumble weekend. Conrad Thompson, friend of the show, is bringing along two of his podcast buddies. There you see Eric Bischoff and Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Guys, what is going on? Are you excited that you're heading to St. Louis here in about, 8 days from now, I guess?
I know I am. No doubt about it.
Look, Joe, you better make sure me and Eric both can, I'll just say we're not shy. We'll jump right in. So we don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I absolutely am. It's right around the corner. St. Louis has a lot of history. Royal Rumble weekend, and what better way to spend it than a super show with two Hall of Famers. Plus,
and by the way, Jeff, this Hall of Famer is responsible for booking the most successful live event in St. Louis in wrestling history. That record stands to this day as we speak. So we'll see if they're able to break that record on the 29th. I kind of doubt it, but maybe. Who knows?
Usually when WWE has come to St. Louis, they are at the hockey venue, whether it be Kiel, Scottrade. It's now called Enterprise. It's gone over a lot of different names, but it has held some very famous shows over the years. But Eric, WCW back in the day, they booked the Dome, and that's where the Royal Rumble is. So I'll start there with that. How difficult is it to book a 65, 70,000 seat venue like that? And I guess, why did WCW do that back in the day?
Well, the first answer is it's easy when you're hot.
Yeah.
and it's like hell if you're not. But we happen to be hot at that point in time. So that made it easy, really. And I forgot the second question already. I'm having a Prevagen moment.
Let me guess on this, Joe, and I'll ask Eric. I wasn't sure. Obviously, Nitro was red hot, and I was actually on the not so hot Nitro at the Dome, but it was still a cool atmosphere because we ran it twice, or WCW ran it twice, I believe, at the Dome. Is that accurate, Joe? You're looking at me like maybe not.
I'm not. I'm looking at Eric to see if I'm waiting for him to confirm it if he has that memory.
I was on a Dome show, and I think it was the second go around. But needless to say, did you guys go to the Dome show? Do you remember if it was because WWE had a lock on at that time the Kiel Center? Is it because
I don't remember the reason, to be honest with you. I didn't get too involved in booking the buildings, so right. I don't really know.
Yeah. Anyway, still.
So Eric, I know you the last time
Monday night show to be in a Dome, Joe. Still think about that. Not one of the big four pay-per-views, or not even a monthly pay-per-view. A Monday night Nitro.
And they did that all the time back when they were hot. I mean, the Georgia Dome, you guys booked that, and the venues. It is incredible to think of how hot wrestling was back when you guys were on every Monday night, regardless of what show it was. And now you see Mondays and Wednesdays and Friday nights, just venues tarped off. And I know we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, but even before that, you still had venues tarped off. And I mean, you both have to just look back at that and just wonder what happened and what it was that made that turn.
I think and I don't think it has anything to do with COVID. I mean, look at the crowds that, NFL is drawing, college football is drawing all year. I think, people, are a little COVID crazy and kind of blame everything in the world on COVID in one way, shape, or form. Clearly a year and a half ago, that was the issue, but I don't think it's the issue now. I think if there's a difference or an explanation today, it might be that, back when we were hot, we're talking about 96, 97, good chunk of 98, there were only really two wrestling shows on the air, right? And major ones. And now you've got Monday, you've got Wednesday, you've got Friday, and you've got a lot of other smaller, Impact Wrestling, for example. You've got some smaller shows. So there's so much wrestling available on television right now. I think that probably has a little bit to do with it too.
You got Jeff Jarrett. He's wrestling at the Hammerstein Ballroom this weekend. Jeff,
Yeah.
if I would have told you 5 years ago that you would be wrestling at the Hammerstein Ballroom, what would you have said?
If you would have told me 6 months ago, well, maybe 4 months ago, I'd have said, you're out of your freaking mind. Never say never, man. How accurate is that for myself? I'm sitting in.
So, hey, Jeff, how's Karen with all this? I mean, she's got to have an opinion about this.
Oh, and Joe, Eric and Karen have a really good relationship, and I can just see right now Eric going, "Yeah, what does go, Mama Karen?" Exactly what to say about that. Well, just a quick synopsis of it: launched the podcast, opened up a whole, just so many different opportunities and different thoughts, and I kept getting these offers. Hey, this show, and as the pandemic was opening back up, but Game Changer. They tried to get me in 2017, I think, with Orange Cassidy, 2018, Joey Janela, or vice versa that. So Brett and those guys had tried to book me for quite some time. And then they started again last fall. And then there were some other opportunities that came open. And I guess it was about end of September, Top Guy weekend, came home for that. Probably about a month after that, I looked at Karen and I go, I think there's going to be some opportunities in 2022. And she just looked at me, Eric, and said, no, you're not. That ain't happening. And I'm like, well, and then all of a sudden she saw me sort of shift gears from doing only DDP yoga and going to the gym for about 40 minutes, which would be a good 35-minute cardio in and out. So, hey, I would be about an hour and 15 minutes. And she saw, okay, you're back working out. I can tell you're dead serious about that. So, Eric, candidly, she's kind of, she's cool with it. She's like, okay,
good.
Yeah. So, obviously I'm not going to be every weekend and all that kind of stuff, but pick my shots. Kind of excited. They say it's the biggest independent wrestling show in New York City history. So I think that's a pretty cool thing and Game Changer. And, they're known as the death match, but there's so much more to them. They've got legends and high flying matches. It's really a diverse show. Females, it's a very diverse roster. So they do very well on Fight, amazingly well. They're consistent. They're episodic. And they are, for an independent brand, I mean, they're based out of Showboat Arena in Atlantic City, Eric, but they do just as well in Los Angeles. They run all over the country. So once I sort of lifted up under the hood, and I'd known about it for quite some time. So the opportunity's there. Effie, that's a whole nother story in and to itself, Joe.
When you start training, you mentioned just going from the DDP yoga to actually getting in the gym, but it's a different animal once you get back in that ring and you start having to train for that. When was the last time you took a bump before you started training?
The last match I had was on Monday Night Raw in 2019 when I went back for the Royal Rumble and then had a couple of Raw appearances and wrestled there. It's it's a whole different animal.
Well, that wasn't that long ago.
No.
It's only been a couple of years.
Yeah, and I've like staying in shape. Eric knows. It's a hobby.
I know you're staying in shape. I'm not staying in shape.
No, what I'm saying is when we stay at Conrad's or something, it's kind of I think it's good for my brain. I've stayed in shape, but I've got my cardio up. We'll see. I always told myself I'm not going to be that guy. I grew up in, obviously you guys know, in South and the Southern Territories, and guys would come in and not in good shape and down on their luck and just would go in the ring and it'd be painful for me to watch them. I always said I'm not going to be that guy, so I'm not that guy. I'm in good shape, and we'll see how it goes Sunday night.
How long does it take to? What's that muscle memory for when it comes to swinging a guitar at somebody's head?
I don't forget that muscle memory.
Eric, you ever take one of those shots to the head?
More than
with
one.
The guitar?
More than one. I took one. I saw one the other day on social media. Somebody sent it to me. I think in the match that we had with Arquette. Yeah. I was holding Arquette, and you were going to hit Arquette in the head, and Arquette ducked, and I ate it. And then I think I got one in TNA.
Yep.
That was the night I went out there and played flamenco guitar. I was so cool.
I loved it.
I was so awesome.
It was still one of my favorite segments. It was then
And I still get people that, sometimes the thing
Yes.
goes, it floats around on social media a couple times a year, and people go, "Man, I can't believe how well you play guitar." I say, "I know, man. I picked it up. I was down in Arizona and was hanging around with a bunch of flamenco players, and I thought, man, that looks like fun. I picked up a guitar. I was just kind of a natural, so it just came second
Oh,
nature
you
to
got
me."
to see this segment if you hadn't seen it. Eric, he's trying to be humble about it, but his guitar skills will blow you away. It's
It's
on
amazing.
record on a Impact, so you got to check
I,
it out. But
I
you know
will.
what? That was a game changer to sort of tie all this together.
Yeah.
No, a guy in the dressing room was talking about the podcast and where it started, and then the live shows. And he said, "Oh, about Eric." And then another guy walked up. He goes, "You and Bischoff. You know how many times y'all's paths has crossed through the years?" And he says, "I didn't really put it together." And I guess on one of Conrad's other podcasts, not yours, Eric, because I asked him, was it Eric? But anyway, uh, Eric hired me at WCW. I mean, you could, hired my dad, and that's a whole other story that we can tell in St. Louis. But like Eric, we have crossed. The Arquette was a famous or infamous.
Infamous is good.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, there's several beats along the way, and then the TNA days, and then just recently at WWE. So our paths have crossed a lot. So that's one of the things I'm really interested. We don't have a time. It's not Eric's podcast. It's not my podcast. Gloves are off, and we get to go have fun in your hometown, Joe.
That's funny you mentioned that, just because the notes that I got for the show, and I have it on the bottom line right now. To get tickets, if people are interested in getting tickets to the show, they can go to ericandjefflive.com or jeffanderic.com. So you guys still haven't figured out who top billing is yet for the show?
I have.
It's Eric.
There's no doubt in my mind.
That's right.
Everybody else may be slightly dazed and freaking confused, but I'm clear as a freaking bell.
See? Yes, St. Louis, I guess.
Jeff, so Eric, the last time you were in St. Louis probably was the last time you did the show with Conrad, right? That would have been 2019.
I think so. I mean, I drove through a couple weeks ago, but that doesn't count.
So, Jeff, when was the last time you were in St. Louis?
I mean, my guess would be Raw or SmackDown, WWE, maybe a live event. I'm thinking along those lines. Man, where I don't know. I'm sure with WWE, because we hit every market.
Prevagen, somebody get Jeff some Prevagen.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I don't know. I was asked earlier today on a deal about my St. Louis encounters. I remember working for a independent show for Harley Race in St. Louis. So anyway, a lot of good memories in St. Louis. The Raw.
I'm bringing my Prevagen, Jeff, because if people ask questions, right? And that's the part I love about the live shows that I've done with Conrad, especially. They're like, it's Q&A. Well, it starts out as storytelling, and then it turns into some really bad stand-up comedy, actually really fun stand-up comedy. And then the Q&A, which can get pretty hilarious too. But inevitably, when you get 600, 700, 800 people in a room, people start asking you questions about, what about that match in 1994, at the center stage, the third match of the night, this guy wrestling that guy, who decided that finish? It's like, oh my God, all these shows run together.
Yeah.
It's like, I've only done about 3,000. No, I've done 5,000 hours of live television. And it's just one big kaleidoscope. I remember certain things throughout my career, the big moments, obviously, but the rest of it all just kind of melds together. But inevitably, there's some fan out there that is like a walking, talking encyclopedia. So I do my best. I bone up on my own history. I bring my Prevagen with me. I got this stuff that Joe Rogan advertises called On It. It's kind of like a brain food thing. So I'll be on my game, brother. I hope you are, Jeff, because I'm bringing it.
I don't know about my recall on specifics about St. Louis. The Monday Night Raw after Owen's passing was in St. Louis. So that's
I was going to bring that up and ask if you were even there for Raw, because I know how close you and Owen were and you guys were working together at the time. Did you even make that show the day after?
I could take you if I took you into that building. I could take you into the Vince's office, and then right next to it, for whatever reason, they called me in there and they wanted me to watch the opening of that show because I had to wrestle first. We did comments. That was a unique day to say the least. But yeah, I was there, wrestled. That was the first match that night.
And people, if they want to go back and listen, I believe that was the second episode that you and Conrad did together was on your relationship with
Two or
Owen.
three.
So
Episode 2 or 3, I don't know, one of those.
Yeah, one of the first that you guys did for that. So that one of those memories back then for that, and then just all the other shows and pay-per-views that have come through town with that. So do you guys? I know you said, do you guys remember a year, or Jeff, how old you were, or when you and Eric first met? Would it have been through your dad?
Well, Eric may have a little bit better recall, but the AWA days of the 88.
I think it was 88, 89.
The build to Super Clash, if you will, sort of those days. I think that's the first time we met.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Eric, do you remember the first time that Jeff did something to piss you off? And then, Jeff, I'm going to ask you the same question.
We got to save these for the live show, bro. Because then we can really take the gloves off.
Has Eric ever fired you?
I do agree. We need to save that for the show, but I'll give everybody a little hint. Ring gear. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. I like it.
Okay.
I'll give you another little hint. Chippendales. That's it. That's as far as I go. That's as far as I go.
You gave him too much. If you just stuck to ring gear, but
all right.
Oh, Conrad.
I mean, it's going to come up. You guys are going to have 2 hours there at the South Broadway Athletic Club before the Rumble even starts. And I guess I'll play, I'll play dirt sheet here. Jeff, we know that you're going to be in ring shape since you're wrestling this weekend. And with all the cuts that WWE has made recently, they might be looking for, a guy 29 or 30 to come through the curtain. Has anybody reached out to you yet?
Oh, yeah. Lots of folks have. I mean, lots of folks have reached out. None from WWE, but a lot of folks have reached. No, I'm not going to tell you, Joe.
I could get an exclusive here. I have to add, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you. I mean, people are asking Mox and Cody if they're going to be in the Rumble, and they're working for AEW right now.
Preposterous.
Yeah.
What, Joe, you going to come up the road in Springfield and watch some baseball games? Because actually next week I'll be in Springfield for the baseball team doing some pre-promotional work, and then I'm scooting down to the live show. So
I saw that you so have you guys settled on a team name yet for that Springfield team?
The reveal is going to be in February. There is still a lot of discussion, a lot of storyboards and art boards and concepts and ideas. Maybe I can share this. They were expecting 300 to 400 different suggestions. It's sort of because look, minor league baseball have stats on everything. They got well over 800 as it sits today suggestions. So the town is super hyped, which is really cool for the rest of the ownership and just the vibe going in. And so yeah, I'm excited for the reveal. Not sure what they're going to land on or where they're going to land on. I'm certainly not the final decision maker, but I got some input into it. But it's very, very cool.
I could see the microphone covering your shirt right now, and I was going to say, I would imagine the majority was the Springfield Slapnuts, right? If you lift that microphone up a bit, I'm guessing that's what that shirt says.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what this shirt really is? The LLC.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Yeah. I see that. Yeah.
It is me and Conrad's podcast company, Slapnuts LLC.
You guys, because Eric, you started working with Conrad first, and the empire that he has built with the podcast, with the merch, with the websites, with the live shows. Eric, being the promoter that both of you guys, the promoters that you guys were in your careers. I mean, the hustle that he has shown. I don't know how he sleeps at night with all the shows that he does, Eric. And you've been doing this a lot longer than Jeff has as far as the podcast goes. So you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it either. I mean, I get sick of the sound of my own voice after about 45 minutes. And Conrad is doing probably 21 hours or so worth of podcasts a week. Now, that doesn't include the specials he does for ad-free shows like Ask Conrad, things like that. All the other stuff that he has to do to kind of keep things promoted. I don't know how he does it, man. It is amazing to me, but he's one of a kind. I've never met anybody like Conrad.
And
you can say that again, Joe. I've never met anybody, but he thinks differently. He's a marketing mind. He's
smart.
He's very smart, very, very intelligent. Again, sort of doesn't play checkers, plays chess and thinks through all that. But the amount of seat time, that's what better him than me. I'm after about 30, 45 minutes, I don't want to hear myself, but man, he's 7 podcasts and growing and moving and ad reads and there's a lot goes on behind the business with the business of podcasting. So, yep, I feel lucky to have him as a partner.
Now, this is Jeff. Is this your first live show with him, or have you guys done one already?
We did one in Baltimore. We'd only been on the air 5 episodes up at Jimmy's in Baltimore. They were doing a 3-time deal. It came about someone had a scheduling conflict. It didn't work out. So Conrad said, "Hey, you want to do it and step in?" I'm like, "Sure, let's do it." So we did one. I was, maiden voyage, but I'm excited. I'll say this with the mindset, it's Royal Rumble weekend because that was a non-wrestling weekend. Wrestling fans are going to be in town, not just because it's St. Louis, but look, Eric is all kidding aside, he is top billing. He has been in the podcast game a lot longer. So just sort of diving into this, I'm really excited because, at the end of the day, my first love was getting in the ring, lacing up the boots. I'll do that Sunday, but this is going to be a show, and podcast is a platform that I'm excited to be a part of. So I'm super excited about the live event.
I found, Jeff, that, because we both like performing. It's why you're doing what you're doing with GCW. It's why you've done what you've done almost all of your life. I haven't been in the business as long as you have, Jeff, but 30 plus years or so bouncing around, the industry. The one thing that I still love to this day is performing. And I recognize that, my career is behind me. It's in my rearview mirror, and I'm grateful for that. But I still like to get out there. I got a chance to, do a spot on WWE Monday Night Raw a couple weeks ago. Love doing that, man. It's fun for me just to get out there and get in front of that crowd again. It scratches an itch that nothing else can. And these live shows are very similar. It's a performance. It's not just going out there and doing a Q&A, because the energy from the crowd, it changes everything. And people are having fun, which makes me have fun, which makes, when I have more fun, they have more fun. And Jeff, you'll feel the same energy. And I'm sure you did in Baltimore, but this will probably be, as you pointed out, a little bit different because of, the amount of people there and the fact that it's Royal Rumble weekend. But man, just getting out in front of that crowd and interacting and making people laugh and pissing people off and, answering questions and pissing you off, Jeff, which I plan on doing quite a bit of. And you pissing me off. To me, that's, my God, how can, I'll speak for myself, old suckers have any more fun than that?
Two professionals.
It's a blast.
Two professionals.
Eric, you mentioned the Raw appearance you made a few weeks ago, and I think everybody watching could just tell, just looking, it looked like you were out there just soaking it all in, and
literally soaking it all in.
Like, did it just being in that arena and being out there, was there a moment where it just kind of hit you like I'm back out here again?
When it hit me, and I didn't think about it until after it was over, but I haven't been in front of a live crowd in so long. I can't remember the last time I stood in front of a live crowd. When I got inducted into the Hall of Fame, we were right in the middle of COVID. We were, in front of a virtual audience. The things that I did with AEW, I made a couple appearances there over the last year or so. Again, that was heavy COVID and no live audience. So when I walked out, when I heard my music, and I walked out of Gorilla, I went, oh, wow, that's what that feels like again. It was like comfort food for my soul.
And Jeff, I mean, same with you. When you had your appearance at GCW, I mean, you came out there, you had the big black trench coat on and the mask and the hat, and you pulled that down. I mean, it really was a holy shit moment. Nobody was expecting Jeff Jarrett to be under all of that, and that, I mean, that energy too just kind of had to take you over.
And nobody, including Karen, when I told her I was leaving home on New Year's Day, it had been 20 something long time since I'd worked on New Year's Day. But yeah, the surprise factor that was a thing that GCW said, hey man, we would really like you to come up on January 1st. My gut instinct said no. And then I went, okay, what am I going to do? Miss a few football games? No. I got up there early, sat in the hotel room and ate and watched football games. So it is enjoyable. But the surprise factor, it was, again, it's that Eric was in front of 15, 20,000 people, or how many people there. I was at the Showboat. They had a show on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Obviously not as big a crowd, but it was still that energy that you could feel.
And just be able to hide that from the internet, that you can't hide anything these days from the internet. Back in the Nitro days, Eric, you had a few newsletters that were out there, but for the most part, you were able to keep a few secrets up your sleeve, right?
Just a couple. Like, I don't know, Lex Luger was probably the coolest one. Everybody in WWF still thought he was under contract at WWF, so that was like awesome,
huge.
But we had a couple good ones, yeah. Like, I think people say that, oh well, with the internet you can't keep anything secret. I don't buy that.
I don't.
It's harder. It's just people just don't do it. It's too much work for most people. It's effort, but I think the element of surprise is one of the most, other than great story structure, which doesn't really exist hardly anywhere anymore, but the element of surprise, I think, is one of the key emotional pops that you can still create that, is often overlooked. AEW is doing a good job. They've had some good surprises. They built them up pretty well, but I'd like to see more of them.
Agreed.
And that's, as a fan, this is usually the time of year, any of those accounts that I'm following on Twitter, any of the writers or any of the websites, I'll unfollow them at this point in the year, because because I feel like the time between the Rumble and WrestleMania is where the biggest surprises can happen. At being as close as you guys are to the business, are you able to avoid that? Is that something you guys just check out on, or is this just chatter that comes up and you hear stuff?
I don't pay attention to shit.
I don't go out of my way, but also still think it's their job. If you have a small enough nucleus of people that you can trust, it doesn't get out, and you can do anything you want to do. But like Eric said, it's work and it's a concentrated effort, but it pays off done correctly.
Definitely.
So Jeff, we talked about you were last in the Rumble in 2019. Eric, when was the last Rumble that you worked? What year would that have been that you were part of a Royal Rumble show?
I'm thinking never.
Not even back. I mean, just backstage GM.
Oh, well, yeah, backstage, sure. I couldn't tell you. It would have been sometime between 2002 and 2005 or 6. I was probably part of a couple of them. I just don't remember which ones or what happened or what I did. I never really got too involved in WWE pay-per-views. Very, very rarely. I was mostly a television character, but when it came to pay-per-view, I rarely got involved on camera and pay-per-views.
Then Jeff, what goes into the day of the Royal Rumble? When you're one of the 30 guys in that match, how different is that from showing up and knowing that you're match 3 on the card, or you have this spot there? What is the difference when you're one of 30?
Are you asking me in 1994? Are you asking me in 2019?
I'd love to know the difference then between those two.
No, obviously the corporate structure is obviously just much more different. 94, it's the first time that I heard Pat Patterson really go, guys, get in a room and sort of lay out the story. then obviously it has the breakout meetings. But man, you know, in 2019, it wasn't radically different. Pat was there, but structured a little bit different. Michael Hayes and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's Rumble's done correctly. I think it's one of the most exciting matches because something's new happening every 90 seconds or 2 minutes or 1 minute, whatever the interval is. So it's a, you know, all those many years ago, Pat coming up with it. What a home run. What a home run. And Joe,
and by the way, guys, I know we're here to talk about a lot of things, but let's not forget to talk about this live event. And we're talking about Royal Rumble. You can, if you're listening to this, you can enjoy both Jeff and Eric live or Eric and Jeff live, take your pick, and still have plenty of time because we're only like 2.5 miles from the venue. And you can literally walk there if you need to. And our show is, what is it, from 3 to 5?
3 to 5. Yeah. VIP starts at 2:00. Then 3 to 5 is the event. There's going to be they'll have concession stands there. They'll have alcohol there if people want to start drinking before the Rumble starts.
That always makes it fun.
And then you just head right down Broadway all the way to the Dome for the show there. I believe 6:30. I think they're starting the show at 7. So I don't know when the doors open, but if you're, I mean, what are you wanting to leave for? If you guys go till 5:05, I mean, who's telling you to stop talking?
Plenty of time.
It'll be fun. I mean, what a great way to kick off Royal Rumble weekend. You know, come to a live show, you know, listen to Jeff's, you know, relationship with WWE throughout his experience with Royal Rumble. I don't really have any that I remember, but I'll have fun listening to Jeff. And we will have a blast. And
Sure.
I encourage everybody to go to boxofgimmicks.com, purchase your 83 weeks swag, wear your shit to the venue, to the show, so everybody knows who you're really there to see. And
Love it.
Let's have some fun.
And Conrad will be there. And I mean, he won't stir up any shit between the two of you guys.
Because Conrad never stirs anything up. No,
Cannot wait. He cannot wait. He's already playing two sides. No.
As you can,
vice versa, yeah.
As you can see on the bottom, Eric's podcast, 83 weeks, each and every Monday. And then Jeff with My World, it comes out each and every Tuesday. Guys, I look forward to seeing the both of you there at the South Broadway Athletic Club coming up the day of the Rumble, Saturday. The Saturday the 29th is when that'll be from 3 to 5. Get your tickets. Eric and I, we were just talking before. There's still a couple VIP tickets left to meet both of you guys. You get it an hour early. You get a meet and greet with Eric and Jeff. And then, so those are still available.
By the way, those VIP tickets, I think you get a really cool lanyard.
Yes.
And this is the first show that Jeff and I have ever done together. And it's really cool artwork. You know, Dave Silva, who does all the graphics for Conrad for all of his shows, just does amazing stuff. So this thing could be like a really hot NFT. I'm going to call my buddy Gary V.
There you go.
And see if he wants to turn this into an NFT. So there are a few left. I encourage you, if you're thinking about coming to this show, stop thinking and do it. And get your VIP ticket because it's going to be a collector's item. It could be one of the most valuable wrestling NFTs in the marketplace. You never know. You just don't. So, you know, why not invest in yourself? Invest in a great Sunday afternoon. Invest in
Saturday.
What could be
Saturday afternoon.
What did I say?
Sunday.
It's a Saturday. It's a Saturday. You're going to be here on a Saturday, Eric. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be there on a Saturday?
You're going to be here on a Saturday. Yeah.
I better change my flight. Thanks.
For day before the AFC NFC championship games. So you don't have to worry about Jeff. You don't have to worry about missing any football games.
Tighten up.
I was going to say your Titans. You think they'll still be playing that weekend?
They absolutely will. And Joe, I hate to cut this short. I've actually got to jump and do a game changer promo interview.
All right. Well, hey, I was wrapping it up anyway. So, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I will see you guys in just a few days.
All right. Thanks, Joe. See you, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.